So now that the updates are out, we got 2 updates yesterday. If you're new to the channel, for this video, I will leave this article in the description down below so you guys can check it out. I'm sure some of you that follow the channel that have watched the videos yesterday, you've likely went to the article and read it in more detail to get a better understanding. So now that we've all taken it in, I want to do a recap. I want to talk about this. So I understand. I 100% understand that by implementing this new price lock, T-Mobile essentially broke the promise to their consumer. They are effectively telling you with legal verbiage that they can raise your prices now. That's pretty much what they said. This is, if you look, and I talked to a couple of people, if you look in the words and the verbiage, they can go onto your T-Mobile One plan, increase your pricing. If you complain about it, within 60 days, they'll just pay off your last month's bill, and they'll tell you move on. Not saying that it will happen that way, but that's how this is structured. Of course, they might be able to throw out some retention offers and try to keep you, but that's essentially the way it's worded now moving forward. They can essentially tell you, hey, we'll just pay off your final bill and you are now free to move to any carrier. Of course, if you have outstanding EIPs with T-Mobile, you will have to take care of those device payments. And it'll likely have to be paid in full if you so want to leave to go to another company. So here's my take on that. So I understand that some of you might feel that this is, vindicated, betrayed. Here's my take on that. They gave themselves the option to raise pricing if they want to by this legal verbiage. The question is, are they going to do it? That's the question. They haven't raised pricing yet. Yesterday, I got a lot of messages. I got a lot of emails. They haven't raised price. So if you went into the store today, you could add a Magenta line onto your Magenta plan and still pay the same pricing as structured today. The only thing is that line is no longer under that price lock or under the guarantee that you are going to keep the same price. So yes, like I said, they have the option to raise price. So I understand that, but they haven't yet. Now, the million-dollar question, will they? That's the million-dollar question. Are they going to do it next quarter, next week, next year? That's the question. This implies that it's coming. A lot of people are telling me within a year or two, prices are going to go up. So my take on that, after taking it all in, 1 or 2 things they would signal if they raised prices still this year. If they did it in Q3, Q4, they're signaling 1 or 2 things. And I'm going to be as blatant and as honest as I can about that. 1, they're signaling stupidity. Why stupidity? Because they're still a growth company. They are going into segments that they haven't competed in. How the hell are they going to go into a rural environment charging the same price as the carriers that are already there? That just makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense for them to be priced the same as Verizon and AT&T. Who the hell is going to switch from Verizon to T-Mobile if it's the same damn cost? Just think about that. That makes no sense. It brings competitive stagnant. It becomes very stagnant. There's going to be no movement. There is no incentive. Nobody's incentivized to move to T-Mobile in these parts where they have no share if they're the same damn cost as Verizon and AT&T. And then the second part to that, they're signaling to the market if they're going to increase the Magenta Max, for example, to $95, which is the same price as Verizon, they're signaling to the market that their network is either better or the same as the competition. If you look at the pricing, that's what they're signaling. If I buy a Ford Focus and it's the same price as a higher end Lexus, that Ford Focus better drive like that damn Lexus, that higher end Lexus, if it's the same price. And like I said, I'm just being honest. This is me here being honest and blatant. I took a back seat before this video and I told myself they are in no position to increase pricing. No, they are not in a position to increase pricing. One, their network is not as big yet. They still lack scale. So that means they're still underpenetrated in segments or in areas of the country that they have to deploy networking. That will still happen this year. That will still happen next year. And like I said, if they go into a new area with a new network and retail, they can't be the same price as Verizon and AT&T because there's no movement. There won't be any movement. Now, could they perform a bait and switch? Potentially. That could happen. They could give you 20% off, you switch, and then increase that at another time, right? And that's really how they're playing this with that verbiage. They could pretty much get you, hey, we're going to charge you 20% less, and then you're not locked in the price guarantee, and then the next year they can go up. They could literally now implement cable explosive second-year cost. That's what T-Mobile could pretty much do. But what happens then? I still don't think at scale T-Mobile is going to have a extensive matching coverage to AT&T and Verizon at the beginning. So they get into new territory and, you know, they add a few sites, they build retail, they get people to switch. Early on at that time, they still have no market share, right? So I don't think their network becomes as extensive until they grow some share. So Verizon and AT&T in these rural environments will still have the upper hand. So again, T-Mobile is walking a very thin line if they raise pricing. They have to be very, very careful on this. Now, this doesn't take a rocket scientist or a 20-year analyst to figure that out. So let's put them to the side. We don't need any of that. You guys are smart enough to consumer. You are smart enough to know. Like I said, if you're going to pay the same price for a Ford Focus as a high-end Lexus, that Ford Focus better have the same quality and drive as that higher-end Lexus. So that's the territory that we're moving into if T-Mobile were to raise prices. And scientifically, per Root Metrics, there's already a good amount of markets out for the first half of 22. They are still not on the level of Verizon as it stands today. So that would be very bold of them to raise pricing. They are, in my opinion, I know they said that now as a combined company, they no longer have to be the scrappy competitor. But yes, they still have to be the scrappy competitor. The market is getting more saturated. There's lower end options that are taking advantage of still the better networks. You could literally go with an MVNO, and I know there are stipulations, 20 gigs, whatever. You could go with an MVNO, and like I said, this video is honest video time. You could go with an MVNO and have a better, larger network than T-Mobile. Think about that. I know the market and the consumer, the average consumer doesn't really watch videos like this, or, you know, they're not in the know. But you can go on Cricket, pay less, and go through the entire state of Nebraska and have a better network versus T-Mobile. Let that sink in. You have to let that sink in. You can't defend that. It is a fact. Crowdsourced, hell, their own coverage map shows roaming in the entire state. So there's something there, right? They got a backup, but it's not going to be of the same quality as you being on an actual native network. I know Cricket is a little bit prioritized, but it's going to be a better experience as being on a capped low-end roaming, right? Like 200 kilobits. If you get 8, 9 megabits, 10 on Cricket, you're still fine. You're gonna be able to do way more than the T-Mobile customer that's riding alongside. So just think about those points. This video is probably longer than I wanted it to, but just think about those points. Just be honest with yourself. Think about that. T-Mobile is in no position as it stands in the market conditions to raise pricing. They still lack perception in the market. There's still going to be quite a high percentage of customers that still won't even walk into a T-Mobile store. Not because the network hasn't gotten better, or they may actually now be in those parts. It's just, it takes decades sometimes to fix perception. If you buy a car and you buy it from the same dealership or the same manufacturer, and the car keeps breaking down, eventually you're going to develop a perception that that car brand is trash. So they might come out and tell you, my car is better, I have a better engine, I'm spending more money. You're still not going to go buy again because you've bought it 3 times and it was all bad. So again, just think about all of those points. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about it. Let us know. Reach out. Talk. I want to know. Do you think T-Mobile is in a position to raise pricing even within the next 24 months? I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Make sure you guys shout out. So I'll end the video on that question. Do you think T-Mobile is in a position to raise pricing? Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow my social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.